Show you how to use SQLite in your iPhone application. So open up your Xcode and let's start. Choose a single view application. Product name, I'm going to call it SQLite tutorial. Use a storyboard, use automatic reference counting, and device is iPhone. And then create our project. So SQLite is going to use to be our persistent storage, and I'm gonna store a person in here, and the properties of a person is gonna have a name and an age. Last time I did the core data, both of the attributes were strings. This time I'm gonna show you how to also use an integer when we use age to store the person. Alright, so first we have to add our SQLite to our framework. So select your SQLite tutorial. Go to build phases, click on link binary with libraries, and click this plus sign, and then search for SQLite, and we want lib SQLite 3.0 .dilib. Select it and add, and then that's all we need for that. And let's go to configure our storyboard. Alright, so in our view controller, I'm gonna have two text fields to add the person's name and age. So in placeholder text, I'm just gonna call it name. Second one, placeholder text, I'm gonna call it age. Alright, and I'm gonna do the same operations as last time, which is I'm gonna add 3 buttons, which is the adding a person, deleting a person, and searching for a person. Add person button. I'll do another search person. Actually, not search person. I'm just gonna call this display list, and it will display the whole list of all the persons in your database. Add persons display list, and then say delete, not database, just delete person. Alright, so I have my 3 buttons, and I'm gonna add a table view, and this table view is gonna be used to display our information from when the display list button is clicked. Alright, so here's and then let's make our connection. For the name, control click drag onto here. I'm gonna call this name field, connection is an outlet, type is UI text field, connection is weak. Alright, same thing with age, storage is weak, connection outlet, I'm gonna call this age field. And control click drag the table view onto there. I'm gonna call it my table view. Connection is outlet, type UI table view, storage is weak. And the 3 buttons, control click drag the add person button. The connection is an action, and then I'm gonna call it add person button. Connection action, type ID event touch up inside, argument sender. Same thing with display. Change it to action, display person button. Same thing with delete, control click drag onto here. Connection is an action, delete person button. Alright, so we should have 6 connections here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so there's our 6, and also, I'm gonna create a model for person. So just go to File, New, File, and choose Objective-C class, and it's gonna be a subclass of NSObject class. I'm gonna call it person, and then make sure your target is selected, and then click Create. And in the person, choose person.age, and we're gonna have 2 properties because a person's gonna have a name and an age. So for the name, I'm gonna make it an NS string. So do property non-atomic strong NS string name. And for the age, it's gonna be property assign int age. Alright. So it has two things. Okay. And in our view controller.m, I'm going to actually let's deal with our header view controller.h first. We've made the connections. Now we need to import quotation sign SQLite 3.h. That's what we need to import. And also for our table view, we need to do UI table view data source and UI table view delegate. Alright, so that's that. And again, in our person.m, we don't need to do any synthesize because Xcode 4.5 takes care of that for us. So we don't, because in the previous versions of Xcode, we need to synthesize for these properties. But so we leave the person.m alone. We don't do anything with that. And in our view controller.m, in our view did load, I'm gonna have, actually let me import one more thing to view controller.h. Sorry, let me import my model. Import person.h. Alright. So now in our view controller, I'm gonna create some instance variables. I'm gonna have an NS mutable array, and this array is gonna hold my array of person. So I'm gonna call it array of person. And then I'm gonna have an SQLite 3 pointer to an object. I'm gonna call it person db. And also I'm gonna have a NS string db path string. That's what I'm gonna call my path. And then from there, those are our three instance variables. And in our view did load, we need to set the delegate of our table view. So self my table view, set delegate, self my table view, set data source, self. And I'm gonna create a method to create or open our database. I'm gonna call it create or open db. And in our create or open db, I'm gonna have ns array path equals ns search path for directory and domain. So it auto-populated for us, and in directory is gonna be ns. I'm gonna put it in the ns document directory. That's where we're gonna put our database, and our domain mask is going to be ns user domain mask and expand tilde. Yes. Okay. So that's our path, and then we're going to have an ns string. NS string is I'm going to call it doc path equals path object at index 0, because we only have one path here. So object 0 is gonna refer to this path right here. Alright. And then do a db path string, which is our ns string right here. db path string equals doc path string by appending path component. That's string by appending path component. And so in addition to that path, our database, I'm gonna call it persons.db. Alright, and then that's our path, and then now we do char pointer error, and do ns file manager, ns file manager equals ns file manager default manager. And then so here we're checking if the file already exists. If not file manager file exists at path, and our path is the db path string is this right here. So it's checking if it's already existing. So there's the not sign. So if it doesn't exist, then we're going to create the database. So again, we have a const char pointer. I'm gonna call it db path equals db path string and use UTF-8 string. So what this does is the UTF-8 strings, it takes a NS string, which is this right here, and it converts it to a const char. So because in SQLite it doesn't take a NS string, it takes a const char like a UTF-8. So just do that, and then here we're going to create database here. Now we'll do if. Alright, so to keep this tutorial fairly short, I'm not going to do any error checking, so I'm just going to show you guys how to create it. So I'm going to assume everything is gonna work. So SQLite 3 open, SQLite 3 open, and this one. The file name is going to be our db path, and our database is going to be person db, which is this right here, the SQLite 3 pointer. But looks like a double pointer, so we need to add a ampersand person db, and we check if it's equals to SQLite okay, which is an int. I'm not sure what number this is, but it has like different status of what it is. So it's like SQLite okay. Okay. Alright. So check if it's equals to SQLite okay, and if it is, then we do a const char pointer. I'm gonna call it SQL statement, stmt equals, and here's our statement to create our table. Create table if not exists person, so the table is going to be called person, and it's going to be called persons, and it will have an ID, which is a integer, and this one will be my primary key. So ID integer primary key, and do auto increment, and we're gonna have a name, and name will be a text, and we're gonna have an age, and age will be an integer. And close off our parentheses, close off our quotes, and then now SQLite 3 close, and we're close is going to be our person db. So now we're closing our SQLite. Here, let me get rid of this error. We're not really using this for error checking. All right. Okay, and in our view did load, at the end just say self creator open db. So that will that'll call that create or open db method. Oh, let me do one more thing in my view did load. Forgot to do this. We have to allocate and initialize our array of persons, or else it's not gonna let you use the array of person pointer. So just say ns mutable array alloc init. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. So here I've just added allocated and initialized this ns mutable array, and here I'm setting the delegate and data source for our table view, and here I'm calling this create or open db method that we've just created. Alright. Alright, now let's do our table stuff. So in our table view, I'm gonna have a number of sections. So we're only gonna have one section in this tutorial. and do a table view, number of rows in sections, and our number of rows in section will be whatever amount array of persons has. So return array of persons count. Alright, and our cell for row at index path, I think I'll do that later. Let's but we need something, because otherwise the program is gonna complain. So let me set that up first. Table view cell for row at index path. Look for cell for row at index path, and then static and a string pointer cell identifier equals cell. So this is same thing that we've done before. UI table view cell, call it cell equals table view DQ reusable cell with identifier cell identifier. If not cell, then cell equals UI table view cell alloc init with style, and the style this time it's gonna be UI table view style subtitle, because I'm gonna show in the title the name, and the subtitle is gonna be the age. Reusable identifier against cell identifier. Alright, and then I'm gonna have a pointer to an instant, pointer to a person. So I'm gonna call it a person equals array of person, object at index path dot row. Alright, and I'm gonna do cell dot text label dot text equals a person dot name, and cell dot detail text label, which is our subtitle dot text, equals a person dot age. Alright. Oh, age is an int, so we need to convert that to a string first. So here we can do it like this. And a string with format %d, and it's gonna be a person dot age. That should work. Alright. At the very end, return cell. Okay, so that should take care of our table stuff. And now I'm gonna start showing you how to add. Let's do the adding first. So when the add button is pressed, there's our add person button is right here, and I'm gonna have if SQLite 3 open, and then here will be the same path that we have before, the dv path, a string utf8 string. So let me check up top. I don't think I did that up top. Statement. Oh, here, I forgot to do this right here after our statement. And in our path, I have to, let me look for my path, 1 second. Like 3db path. Yeah, I forgot to, before I close it, I had to add it. So SQLite 3, execute. And our execute, SQLite 3 will be our person DB, and our SQL statement is SQL STMT. and our argument would be no, and here we'll have our ampersand error, which is what we've created. Here, an error, we'll just do this right here. Top. Char pointer error. Oops, not error. Need to add the ampersand right there. Okay, so that will actually create our table. Sorry about that. Again, jumping all over the place. So now we're doing the add button, and in our add button we're gonna have let me see. Here we're gonna do this. We're gonna do SQLite reopen db path string UTF-8 string, and our database is gonna be our person database, and we're gonna check to see if it's SQLite okay, and then from there we have our insert statement, and a string insert statement equals and a string with format, and our insert statement goes like this: @ insert into persons, because persons is our table name. So insert into persons. Let me see. We have two. We have called name and age. So we insert into person name and age. Values. You need a little one quotation. I'm not sure what it's called. Apostrophe, I think. Apostrophe %s. Apostrophe %s. And the argument will be whatever was in our name and age field. Let me see what I called it. I called it name field and age field. So go back to our implementation file. Do self.namefield.text, and we need to make it a UTF-8 string again, because it takes a S is a char pointer, and it's not an object. So our second argument is self.age field, and then I think that's alright here. I'll do %d, I think, because this one is an integer, so we can, the format for integer is %d. So do just self.age field. We don't need the brackets for this one. Alright, so I think that's all we need for that. It doesn't like it though. Self.age field. Oh, I know why. .text, and then I'm gonna have to do int value. Because here it takes it as a string from the text field. So do int value. Alright. Sorry, that's a little tricky. So do self.age field.text, and then just do a space and say int value, and then it'll get the int value for this one. Alright, and then again have a const char pointer, and I'm gonna call it insert stmt, and then equals, we're gonna convert our insert statement, which we've just created, into our, oh, here, it has to be inside of the if statement, sorry. Alright, const char pointer insert statement, and we're gonna convert our insert statement string into a UTF-8 string, and then we can execute the query. Not the query, sorry, the statement. if SQLite 3 execute, our SQLite 3 is going to be our person DB. Our statement will be insert statement. The same thing as before, our arguments will be no, and our error message again is going to be ampersand error, and we need to have another one of those. So char pointer error. So that's for that, and and we need to check if it's equals to SQLite. Okay. All right, and then from there I can say books at in a string. I can say person's added. I can have an NSLog statement. NSLog person added. All right, and I'm gonna also have to add it to my array of persons that I have. So we'll do person equals person alec init. Oops, init. Okay. And then from there, person, lowercase one. Person set name, and the name will be the name from the text field. So self.namefield.text, and then person set age, and age should be the same thing as before. So self.agefield.text, and then do an int value. So that'll set the person's name and age, and we just say array of persons, add object, and we're gonna add the person object to it. All right, so now our arrays have increased, and I think that should be it. And okay. So let's run that and see that our add works. Oh, and at the end, don't forget to close your database. So at the end of this, just say so if, okay, just do it here. SQLite 3 close, and our database name was person DB. Alright, so let's run it on our iPhone simulator and hope that works. Okay. Alright, so now let's add somebody. Let's add Iffy, age 29, add person. There, person added. And we can also double check by going into our Finder and go to your library, go to your application support, and then from application support go to iPhone simulator and go to the 6.0 version that you have. Go to application and look for here, it's called SQLite tutorial, and we added in our documents, and here's our person.db. We can double click it and look, and again I'm going to use that same program that I used to look at last time, which is our SQLite database browser, and then go to browse data, and here's we've added to our database Iffy29. Let's add a couple more people. Again, I'll add John. John is 12. Add person. I'll do Jane. Jane is going to be 30. Add person. Okay, one more. Do J. And J is 25. Add person. Alright. Now again with the little trick, since my table doesn't update, go somewhere else and click person. So now all our tables have been added, and when we even if we stop and we relaunch it, stop and relaunch it, our person's database will still be there. So it persists in our SQLite database. So that's good. So our add person is working fine. So now let's move on to the next operation, which is to display list. So it's gonna display a list into our table view. So in your view controller, in the display person, I'm gonna have a SQLite 3 STMT, and I'm gonna call it ST8 statement. Alright. So I'm gonna check if SQLite 3 open. SQLite 3 open, and our argument is db path string utf8 string, and our database is again person db. Forgot the ampersand right there, person db, and we check if it's equals SQLite OK, and if it is, we'll remove all the objects from the array of person first, because otherwise it's going to keep adding to our table views and we're going to see the same thing over and over, and we don't want that. So every time when we want to display a list, we remove everything from the array first and we re-add it later. So our query is going to be NSString query SQL equals NSString string with format, and our format is going to be select star from persons. So now we're selecting everything from the persons table that we have, and again we have to convert that to a const char. So we do that by saying query SQL UTF-8 string, as always, to convert from our NS string into our const char pointer. And then we do if SQLite 3 prepare, and then we're gonna use the first one, SQLite 3 prepare, and our database again is gonna be person db, and our statement is going to be query SQL, the one that we just created right here, and I'm gonna say -1, and the statement will be ampersand statement, which is here, and const char pointer for that is gonna be no. Okay, and again we have to check that it's SQLite OK. Alright, and from there we can go through each one of our statement, because all the query that we sent gets sent into our statement. So we can go through each one of our statement and then populate our array, and from there we can show it on our table. So do while SQLite 3 step, and the statement will be statement equals SQLite row. So while it's equals to the next row, then we do NSString auth, actually I'm gonna call it name equals NSString alec init, init with UTF-8 string, and our const char pointer is going to be SQLite 3 column, and the name is a text, so column text, do a statement, and our int column, so that's gonna be our column 1, because column 0 is our, look at our database again, column 0 is our ID, column 1 is our name, and column 2 is our age. So for this, in a string name, in a string Alec, init with UTF-8 string, const char pointer, SQLite 3 column text, statement, and column 1. And the second one is going to be, I'm gonna make it an int. So int, I'm gonna say age equals, actually I'll do an ns string and I'll convert that to an int later. ns string age string equals ns string Alec, init with UTF-8 string again, const char pointer, SQLite 3 column, instead of text it will be int. Let's look for that here. Alright, then statement will be statement, and int column this time will be column 2. So that's our 2, and then create an instance of person equals person Alec init person. I'm gonna set name, and the name will be whatever name we have right here, and do person set age, and age will be age string int value again. Okay, and then we have to add our person to our array of person. So array of person, add object is person. Alright, and at the very end of the if statement, we can reload our data. So self my table view reload data. Alright, so it should display the list of people in your table view. So let's see that works. If not, then we can fix it. So alright, so let's just do a display list. Oh, it crashed. So let's see what's wrong. And also the keyboard doesn't go away, so let me take care of that one too. Keyboard doesn't go away. Again, I do my touches began shortcut. So age field, resign first responder. So name field, resign first responder. Call super, touches began. Alright. So that should get rid of our keyboard when we touch somewhere on the screen. And alright, let's see what our error is in our display person button. Doesn't seem to like it. So if SQLite is open, database UTF-8 string ampersand person equals SQLite OK, array of persons, remove all objects, create SQL, select star from persons, okay, const char pointer UTF-8 string, prepare person DB, no, equals SQLite OK, SQLite 3 step statement, SQLite row, name, and string out, text statement. Oh, I see. Here, let me do this as a SQLite 3 column text. Alright, so that should work, because here maybe it's trying to convert from this H string into an int value, but it was already passed in maybe as an int. So hopefully that fixes our crash. Let's see. Display list. Alright, perfect. That fixed it. Alright, so all of our records from the database gets displayed here on our table. So we can add one more person. Homer, age 15, age 155. Add person. Person added, touch somewhere on the screen, it's gone. The list doesn't refresh until we hit display list. Then here, Homer gets added on. So there's adding and displaying, and our last operation is delete person. So let's do that. Alright. Alright, we're almost done. A little bit more. Alright, so for our delete person, I'm going to say self my table view set editing not self dot my table view dot editing animated yes. Alright, so now I've set the editing style. Now we just need to do something when the editing gets clicked. Alright. So here we need to do table view, and then the method name is called commit editing style for row at index path. Alright. So from here, okay. So for now, let's see that the editing style comes out like how I want it to come out. Display list, delete person. Alright, so that's what we want. So here's our delete person thing that comes up, but when we press delete right now, nothing happens yet. So what we want to do is when we press delete, I want to also delete it from my table view and also delete it from my database. So that's what I want to do. So do a table view, and then if editing style equals UI table view cell style delete. So if it's delete, then we create a person. I'm just gonna call it P equals array of person object that index path dot row, and then self. I'm gonna create another method called delete data, and then we'll call that so self delete data, and our delete data is gonna take an NS query. So let me create that method first before we do this method. So do void delete data, and it's gonna take an NS string, and I'm gonna call it delete query. So this is our delete query that we're gonna do. So char pointer error if SQLite 3 execute. So we're gonna execute our delete query. Person DB. In our query, we're gonna do delete query, convert that to UTF-8 string, and again our argument is no, and ampersand error, and check if that's not equals SQLite. Okay. check that it's, and if it's not equals, then it's something is wrong. Actually, let me check that if it's equals. Sorry, equals. Then we can have another log statement saying person deleted. Alright, again, I'm not going to do any error check because it takes us long already. So person deleted. So here when you do self delete data, you pass it the query that you want to do, and then so delete data. What we're gonna pass in is a string with format, and our query is gonna be delete from persons. Okay, my table name is called persons. Delete from persons where name is, again, quote apostrophe %s. I'm just gonna check on the name, so I'm not gonna check on the age, whether there. So we're gonna check when the name matches, and p.name utf8 string, and delete from persons where name is that. Alright, I think that's our, I hope that deletes it. If not, then I can come back and change the query. And now we also remove that from our array of person. So array of person, remove object at index, and our index is index path dot row. Okay, and then just do a table view, delete row at index path, and our index path is going to be a ns array with object, and our object is index path, and with row animation I'm just gonna have a UI table view row animation, I'll do a fade. Alright, so that should take care of our delete. So let's run it on our iPhone simulator and see that it works. So right now I'm just checking on the name, so let's do a display list and do a delete person, and we'll delete Homer. So click the minus and then say delete. Alright, there, person deleted, Homer is gone, but the main thing is it has to be gone from our database. So do that. Well, Homer is gone. Now let's delete Jane this time. So we'll delete Jane minus delete. Now Jane is gone. Check our database again. There, Jane is gone. Alright, well, that took a while, but all the functionalities got done. Add person, we can add person age 99, add person, and that got added to our persons table, and we can do display list, which displays our list of everyone in our table. And again, we can toggle the delete to be on and off, and we can delete if either perfect. Delete. Look at our table. Now it's gone. Alright. Well, thanks for watching, and thank you for watching for the whole 49 or 50 minutes. And I will see you next time with the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye.